Thanks again for tuning into Cam&Company. Right now, we're very pleased to have with us on the show from Buckeyes for Concealed Carry. Mr. Michael Newbern is with us. Michael, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, Cam. I'm doing well. I have to say I'm honored to be on your show.
Well, listen, it is a real pleasure. I'm sorry that the circumstances are what they are there in Columbus. Looks like a string of crime alerts from police on the campus there at The Ohio State University?
That's correct. Starting around the beginning of October, middle of October, we started having, they call them timely warnings. And they're not true crime alerts in that, they don't alert us of something that's taking place at that particular time. They alert us after the fact, sometimes up to 24 hours later. And they started popping up, and some students started discounting them as spam, to be honest with you, because it was just so frequent. The period from November 6th, or October 6th, November 6th, they were on the neighborhood of 73 incidents in the university district alone. A dozen of them made the alert system, but because they involve students. But yeah, it's been pretty bad.
And so the reaction, it sounds, has been pretty swift. I mean, hundreds of students have been signing up to join Buckeyes for Concealed Carry?
That's right. This is something I've been wanting to do since I started school. I'm an engineering student, and my first year I really wanted to focus on my education and get my foundation laid for good performance in college. But after that, I started really thinking about how I was going to, make this happen. And I took some clues from Students for Concealed Carry on campus and Ohioans for Concealed Carry and Buckeye Firearms Association. And we planned our first meeting, started planning the first meeting before the alert went out. We had our first meeting after the third alert went out, and then we had 15 students, faculty, and staff show up for the first meeting. And then once the story broke in some of the school newspapers, it just took off. We did some flyering on the Oval, which is the big, grassy area in the middle of campus at Ohio State, and we went from 15 students about 3 weeks ago to 300 students, faculty, and staff that are eager to know when our first meeting next quarter is going to be.
Really?
Yes, sir.
That's fantastic. Now, I'm curious, Michael. Obviously there are thousands of students there who attend the Ohio State University. Folks are still finding out about your group, I imagine. But what is the campus said about the spike in crime? And the number of alerts that the local campus police there have been sending out.
Well, of course, the university and the Chief Denton is our OSU Police Department's stance is that crime has not increased. We're just more aware of it, and there's a little bit of truth to that. And I'm unfortunately not able to get data from the previous year, specifically for the university district, which is the area just outside of campus where a lot of students live and play, and the sorority and fraternity houses in that area. But, they cite federal requirements to notify students, and they said that, the crime's not really increased. But then Columbus Police Chief came out last week and did say that there was an increase in crime, but once again, the university is just focusing on the campus area. And, they said, well, campus crimes in the past year hasn't increased. And it's not. I mean, you're talking one violent crime increase over the past year. But the thing that we really talk about, and the thing that we really are interested in, is the fact that by disarming students on campus, we've also disarmed them off campus as well. I mean, there's no way for a defensive tool that is not allowed on campus to just poof sudden go away once a student crosses High Street from walking into their onto school. And so we actually look at it as we're protecting ourselves on campus, but we're also most vulnerable when we walk off campus, in the areas that are dimly lit, the areas where the OSU police don't patrol, and we're being victimized left and right.
Obviously, the campus carry has been an issue that has gotten more attention over the past couple of years. It's been a struggle in state legislatures because I think in large part the university system putting pressure on various state legislatures. In Texas, for instance, a campus carry measure last year had the support of a majority of the House and the Senate, and yet for some reason, it couldn't get a straight up or down vote in order to be sent to the governor's desk there. Are you afraid, Michael, or do you think that politics is being played here with public safety?
Well, we at this point in our in our fight, we are still looking for the university to support us. We're not convinced the university yet is not going to support us, and so we don't want to really come out and say that there are things like that going on. You're not the only person that thinks that. You're not the only person in Ohio that is involved in. You're not the only person that thinks that, or the only person I've come in contact with who thinks that, who is active in the House and the Senate in lobbying for constitutional rights. But we're starting to get the picture that the university is not interested in allowing students to be able to defend themselves using firearms. Just recently, we had a Senate panel committee meeting where a safety panel meeting where Gordon Gee called one student leader, the USG president, and several administrators, to an emergency meeting to establish a safety plan. So the university comes out with this fantastic $75,000 one-time spend safety plan increase to add more lighting and things like that on campus, which is not where the problem is, as we already talked about.
Right.
And they're going to pay Urban Meyer $4 million a year, but $75,000 is really only what's important for student safety. And we reached out to them. Several times. Hey, we've got a great no-cost solution. Just allow us, the ones that have gone through the training are 21 and older and pass the background check to be able to defend ourselves on campus as well as off. We're already doing it, in 70 campuses across the country.
Yeah.
And just let us, and we didn't hear anything back. And then an article came out in the student paper feature on us, and the USG president made it pretty clear in the quote that he gave in the article that they're not interested in allowing students to defend themselves.
Not interested at all, huh?
At this point, I don't. Either he has not listened to the facts, or he's just plain not interested. We think that people, when they listen to the facts and they listen to reason, will become interested. But unfortunately, that's not the case. So we're actually changing our tactics a little bit. One of the things we did on our recent, NBC4 that you picked up TV spot was we brought in a female student member who is small in stature, and we tried to appeal to the emotional side of the argument instead of the fact, logic, and the fact, logic, and reason and the practicality of allowing us to concealed carry.
Right.
We took a tip kind of from Nikki Gozer and some of the other people who have come out and said, I was defenseless, I couldn't defend myself, and I was legislated a victim. Or my husband was legislated a victim by the law. So we brought someone out like that to help us appeal to the emotional argument.
Interesting. And what kind of? I'm curious. What kind of reaction did you get?
Well, the overwhelming response from that has been positive. Either people are warming up to us, or they're not really coming out in strong opposition just yet. I'm not real sure. One of the great things is that organizations that we normally would think are opposed to restoration of carry rights has welcomed us with open arms. The OSU chapter of the NAACP has invited me to be a panel speaker on their follow-up safety forum meeting and to speak at one of their meetings on gun control. So that's very, very heartwarming that a group that one may associate with gun control is willing to reach out to us and say, this isn't making sense anymore. We need to do something different.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Michael, I appreciate you coming on the program tonight, sir. It's a real pleasure, and hope that we can do it again at some point.
Absolutely. I'd love to talk to you anytime.
All right. Best of luck to you, Michael. Michael Newbern with Buckeyes for Concealed Carry.